Good. Now I'm recording. Okay, so look at this, as I say, the example of, again, strong, absolutely amazing use of figures of speech. Remember, this is our title here, as I said, the imagery and figures of speech, the example I gave you last time by Dickinson, and this one here by Robert Burns, talking like to a red rose. Of course, he means his love, the woman he loves. And really, this is an amazing, lovely lyric, as I said, by this Scottish writer. Notice here, very short, tiny stanzas, 4 lines. Again, the rhyme, you can see rose, again, red, red rose, and then June and melody, and then tune. You know, if you want to look at the rhyme here, it's not really rhyming properly, but June with tune. So only the second line and the fourth line, they rhyme, whereas the first and the third, they don't rhyme. And this is really, of course, one of the irregularities of the of English poetry, of course. But here, the idea we are talking about really today is about imagery. Notice here, comparing his love to a red, red rose, you know, which is really very passionate. When you love someone, ya Anas and ya Shabab, huh? What do you give to your girl? Huh? Anas, would you buy her a car or something, or what? Hello, boys. Boys, can you hear me? Did I lose connection?
Not. Yes, I can hear you.
Ah, so you are quiet. You don't know what you're going to get to buy. No problem. Okay. Now, the idea really here, as I said, is the whole poem is absolutely metaphorical and full of lovely images. So he's talking to his lady and comparing her to a red, red rose. Again, the next stanza, again, is a very, very, really lovely. Notice, as fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till of, notice here, till the seas gone dry. Of course, this is Scottish accent. He means till all the seas going to dry. Wow, look at that. As fair art thou. You know, he's saying, comparing her, how fair, how lovely, how beautiful you are. My bonny lass, bonny in Scottish accent means beautiful, and lass means girl. My bonny lass means how lovely you are, my lovely girl. So deep in love am I, means how much I love you, how much I deeply love you, my lass. And I will love thee still, meaning I love you more and still more and more, my dear. And he said, you notice, till all the seas going or gone dry. I mean, this is exaggeration, isn't it, ya Ala?
Yes, it is, Doctor.
Do you believe it?
No.
No, we men say a lot of things, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so yeah, but look at the image here and the imagination and the real exaggeration and the comparison. Notice here, the sea is going to dry. Of course, seas will never dry. So he's saying, I will love you still. I will love you more, 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 till, you know, the whole world is over and finished. I think, yeah, as you say, this is really great exaggeration, but this is an amazing, again, image. Look at the third stanza and the same thing. Again, look at the, as I said, the rhyme, the second line with the fourth line, whereas the first and the second, they don't rhyme. Again, the third stanza, he goes on to exaggerate, to measure, and to, if you like, to talk about the volume of love that he has for her. Notice he repeats the same thing. Till all the seas gone dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun. Wow. Rocks melt with the sun. Rocks normally don't melt. But you see, this is the image here, the amazing image that he's saying, I will love you more even than that moment, till the rocks melt with the sun. I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. You know, again, this is an amazing thing. You know, he's repeating, well, the sands of life shall run. I don't know how sands can run, you know, if this is really an amazing thing. And he said, the sands of life, you know, what sands here? What sands he's talking about here? It's again, notice the absolute strange imagery that he's using here. You can say, you know, you can say about this, you know, you can say really about it in any way to say what kind of you know, image he's employing. So really, this is again, you know, a strong image. Again, here he said the last stanza, and remember, really, this is a very romantic, as I said, it's really a song in Scotland, and Scottish people really, I've heard it many times, because when I was in Scotland, many people talk about Robert Burns as a very romantic poet. Notice, and fare thee well, my only love. Fare thee well, my only love. Again, look at the spelling he uses, love, meaning love, the way he says it in Scottish. And fare thee a while. Now, notice here he's using the word fare, F-A-R-E. You know, he means, as he's saying farewell, goodbye, or is he fair, meaning lovely, meaning beautiful, absolutely fantastic looking, etc. And he said, fare thee well a while. Here really he means goodbye for a little while, goodbye for a little while. And he said, I'll come back. And I will come again, my love. I will come again, my love. Though it were 10,000 miles. Wow. He said, maybe there are miles and miles away between us, thousands and thousands of miles between us, but I will come. I will come to thee. I will come again. Huh? What do you think, boys and girls? It's a really lovely, short poem, nice, easy to understand, the easy language, the simple language, but very metaphorical. As you can see, very metaphorical, you know, full of imagery and really lovely to do with nature and his love, his lady, his young girl, whoever she is, could be an older woman, could be a 45 old woman, could be 55, whoever, who could be 60, nobody knows, right? But could be young lady of 18 or 19 or 20, no matter. So he uses the word, you know, my love and my fair and my young, you know, it's absolutely a nice example of that. This early morning today, first, you know, the first thing, you know, you say our doctor is talking about love. Yeah, but this is English poetry. Okay? Right. Any question about this poem?
Everything is clear.
Very good. Very good. Now I'll give you another poem today, which is even really amazing. Another amazing example. I think you'll be shocked by this poem. It's a lovely poem by John Donne. And the poem really is called, I will show you that here. I think yeah, It's called. It's the same thing to do with imagery, and this one is using really a huge imaginative image. I will show you here in a minute. Where is it? Yeah, it's page 22. Okay, page 22. It's a poem by John Donne, right? John Donne, as maybe you've heard of him, he's one of those really called metaphysical poets in metaphysical poetry. Yeah, you can see it's page 22. Can you see it here? I will share with you the page to see it. Right, can you see it?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this poem, as I said, it's again really using a very funny and amazing image and figure of speech. And as I said, it's called The Flea. As you can see, the title, The Flea. And you know the meaning of flee? Huh?
When someone like runs away, we say he flee.
Runs away. No, to flee, that's
No, it's a bug.
F-L-E-E, but here F-L-E-A, which is really a small, tiny predatory insect that bites your blood and sucks your blood, and it's very terrible sometimes. It is really ugly, and sometimes, you know, when people are dirty and they have, you know, this, they use this in Arabic. I don't know. Do you have a word for those things? Ala?
No, I'm not sure.
You're not sure. Yeah, well, we say in Arabic in Syria, you know, we Syrians are funny people. Sometimes we say, I think it's in Arabic, not just in Syria, we say al-qamal.
Yes, it is qamel. Here
Yeah,
too.
it is qamal. Yeah, very good. Yeah, and really this is, as we know, it only you know, prospers and lives when dirty people sometimes, or when dirty stuff are around. And sometimes really the whole situation is strange, really, to, if you like, to understand or to cope with. And here really John Donne is very strangely using this. And the funny thing is about John Donne, you know, he was supposed to be a priest, really. Originally, he is a religious man. He was the dean of St. Paul's Cathedral in London. You know, he was really a churchman, an Anglican churchman, and he was the dean, as if we say the head of the biggest and largest cathedral in England, and it is St. Paul's. It's called St. Paul's Cathedral in London. And during those days, really, it was very strange for a religious man to talk about love in this way. You know, sometimes it's very, very funny. Sometimes we say for religious people to be, or I don't know, I mean, this is sometimes the idea that sometimes we say that would be very strange for a religious person to talk about love and to talk about romance, or to talk even about physicality or even physical love. And here really, our friend John Donne is doing this exactly. Of course, he was doing it in mockery. You know, he was doing it as a form of criticism, a form of really ridicule of society at that time. And remember, as I said, you know, he was, I think, one of the best founders or leaders of what we call metaphysical poetry. And when we say metaphysical, really, which is like, you know, something which is not, in a way, not clearly understood or not clearly seen or not clearly appreciated or not clearly taken in, you know. So that's why we say, well, it's very far-fetched. It means absolutely imaginative and not real. You know, when we say something metaphysical, as if something unbelievable or something cannot be acceptable or something which is weird, you know, something could be weird, right? And really very funny or strange. And that's why here the poem, as you can see, the title, The Flea, when we understand it here in a minute, you will say, come on, what's this, doctor? You know, this is crazy thing to say about the whole idea that he's using here. It's really, as I will read the poem for you in a minute, but look at my little introduction that I gave you here about the poet himself. As you can see here, he was the real founder of that school in English poetry. Really, it was an amazing school, which was during on after, mainly after the Elizabethan time, immediately right after Shakespeare's time. They were writing towards the 1600, 1620, 1610, 1620, 30 at this time, and maybe 40 till 50 actually. But you see, originally after 1640s, when the English Revolution, or when with the beginning of John Milton, and the change in the scene was different. So this is the time when those people were writing, and of course the metaphysical poets included many other poets here. I'm not really so much keen about the other names here, but maybe later on you would know. But you see, his main poems, as I said here, is this one called the Flea, and there's another poem called The Ecstasy. You know, ecstasy, and sometimes we say for somebody, as we say ecstatic, you know, something like being intoxicated, when you feel really absolutely over the moon, when you're when you know you want to express your deep, amazing love and so on. You say ecstatic, you know, something unbelievable. And really here you can see here that he wrote so many amazing poems. I said brilliant satires, you know, satirical poetry. He wrote hymns, holy sonnets, and elegies that can be seen in a series of meditations, expostulations, and prayers, depicting his own spiritual struggles in which he begs, you know, God to purge him of sin. And really, you can see all of this, you know, in his poems. Of course, as I said, he was really an amazing poet, John Donne. And his name, again, really, again, is very funny. Many people use the name as in pun, you know, done. When you say something done, yeah, we say, wow, it's done. You know, they don't mean, maybe it could be John Donne. I don't know, but this is the idea that we find people using it as the word in pun. Now, look at the poem. It's not a really big one, but look at the title, The Flea. Mark but this flea. Look at his, you know, he's talking, you know, here the speaker, as you can see in a minute, I will explain it. The speaker is talking to someone, you know, is talking to his love. Mark but this flea, and mark in this, how little that which thou deniest me is. It sucked me first, and now sucks thee, and in this flea our two bloods mingled be. Thou knowest that this can't be said, a sin nor shame nor loss of maidenhead, yet this enjoys before it woe, and pampered swells with one blood made of two, and this, alas, is more than we would do. You know, again, of course, I will read it all, and then I will come back and explain it to you line by line. You know, it's really an amazing thing. I will read it quickly to see if you can get what this really poem is saying. Notice, oh, stay, stay, 3 lives in one flea spare. You notice here the language he is using. Stay, stay means stop. 3 lives in one flea spare. Were we almost, ye more than married are. This flea is you and I, and this our marriage bed and marriage temple is. Though parents grudge, and you we are met, and cloistered in these living walls of jet. Though use make you apt to kill me, let not to that self-murder added be, and sacrilege 3 sins in killing 3. Cruel, cruel and sudden hast thou since purpled thy nail in blood of innocence, wherein could this flea guilty be, except in that drop which it sucked from thee? Yet thou triumphed and stayest that thou findest not thyself nor me the weaker now. It's true, then learn how false fears be. Just so much honor, when thou yieldst to me, will waste, as this flea's death took life from thee. You may think this is funny, huh? Or I don't know. What did you get from this? Or do you get, I don't know, do you understand what the poem is about?
Yes, in the first stanza at least, it is funny because he's saying that this flea bit me and took some of my blood, then bit you and took some of your blood. And our blood inside it will be closer to marriage than anything we will be.
Very good, yeah, Ismail. Ismail, isn't it?
Yes.
Huh? You are my boy. Very good. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look at this description. If you love someone, would you use this comparison? This is very strange comparison, isn't it? What a funny image. You are talking love to your girl and ask her, you say, this flea took some blood from you and took some blood from me, and now our blood is in that flea. So why do you want to kill that flea? What a terrible thing. Ya Dr. Ala Biktah, Ya Alim, what's this? Isn't it? Yeah, but you see, this is the strangest, unbelievable, image to talk in this way, to see how, the poet used this idea. Notice he said, mark but this flea. Look at this flea, he said. He's talking to her. And the man here, he's a wicked man. He's asking, really, he's a wicked man. He's asking her to do something funny with him, and she's refusing. In a way, in other words, he's asking for physical love, and she's saying no. And he's saying, come on, why not? He's asking, he's trying to convince her. He said, there's no sin, If I do this, we do this, could not be sin. It's not sin, So really, this is the idea. And of course, this is really, as I say, an amazing, absolutely amazing, strange image, isn't it? Notice, mark but this flea, and mark in this. Notice the direct dialogue, the direct address. He's saying, look at this, he said. Look at this flea. And please look at this only one, this thing. How little that which thou deniest me is. He said, look at this, you are denying me something really, really very silly. He said, look at this flea, it's nothing. And you are denying me what this flea has already taken. And it's really, it's nothing important. Why are you worried? You know, he's asking her, why do you deny me this? How little that which thou deniest me is. You know, notice here again, here you can see the lines, the rhyme, this is, thee, be, said, instead, woe, to, do. Notice here. So you have A, B, and then A, B, and then C, etc. No, sorry, A, B, B, etc. So each two lines rhyming together is the last three rhyming together, woe, to, and to. And I'm saying here, look at this funny image. He said, you deny me something really, really small and tiny. But you see, for some people and for women and for many young ladies in those days, this is not tiny. To ask for a woman to ask her for something and she will say no, you know? So this is the idea here. This is the idea that he's asking. He said, this is something really very tiny. Why do you deny me? He said, how little that which thou deniest me is. You are denying me something really, really very tiny. Come on. Well, as I'm saying, he's a really funny man. He's asking his girl to give him what he wants. As I say, literally speaking, he's asking for physical love and she's saying no. And he's using this strange image. He's saying, look at this. Now we are sitting together. This little flea took some from your blood and some from my blood. And now we are married in that flea. Our marriage is through our blood in that flea. MashaAllah, isn't it? It's an amazing thing, isn't it? Come on. And he's explaining this. He said, notice, it sucked me first, and now sucks thee. It took some blood from me first, and now from you. And in this flea, our two bloods mingled be. Our two bloods is mixed in the middle of this, in the body of this flea. Thou knowest that this cannot be said a sin, nor shame, nor loss of maidenhead. He said, you know, by this, nobody will say this is a sin. Nobody will say this is shameful. Nobody will say this is the loss of maidenhead. You did not lose your maidenhead, or as he said here, you know, like when you say maybe virginity or something. This is not important or something really terrible. You see? So that's why he's really a funny man. He wants her to be convinced that it's okay to have physical love with him. And that's why he's saying, you can't say that this flea is sinful by mixing our blood. And therefore, what I'm asking for you or from you and of you, this should not be and could not be and maybe is not a sin, is not shame. Of course, as I'm saying, he's trying here to really convince her. Yet, he said, notice, yet this enjoys before it woe. Notice, this enjoys before it woe. You know, as if to say, let's enjoy life, he said. Let's enjoy it now before it's too late. Why should be, because the word woe, the word woe, meaning to be, to be really miserable or sad or to lose our life or something. So he's saying, let's enjoy what we have now before it's too late. And pampered swells with one blood made of two. and this, alas, is more than we would do. Again, notice here, he said, again, notice he's using the word swells, pampered swells with one blood made of two. As if, you know, he's comparing this, you know, it's really funny here, comparing the idea of, you know, swelling, or could be pregnancy, or what's this? You know, this is again an amazing, terrible image, you know, of one blood made of two. Because, you know, normally a pregnant woman, you know, for some months, as we know, the normal 9 months, to keep all the blood in her body, and then when she gives birth, you know, this is, you know, the terrible, amazing image that he's using. He said, this flea now is pregnant, you know, with our blood. Astaghfirullah al-Ali al-Azim, isn't it? Now, this man is terrible, isn't it? What do you think? Huh? My boys and girls, I think this is very funny, isn't it? It's an amazing thing, isn't it? Notice. Oh, stay. You know, again, he's talking to her, saying, please stop. Oh, stay means stop. 3 lives in one flea spare. Because here his lady wanted to kill the flea. And he said, please don't kill it. Because you will spare in this flea. If you spare this flea, you will spare 3 lives. And I think this is, again, crazy image. Notice, 3 lives in one flea spare. You will save 3 lives in saving this flea. Where we almost, ye more than married are. You know, he's saying again here, we are almost married now. You and I are really now nearly married. Where are we married? He said, we are married in this flea. I think he's sick. What do you think? He's maybe crazy. He said, we are married inside this flea. Ye more than married are. You know, means we are really now married. Don't kill this flea. This flea is you and I. And this our marriage bed and marriage temple is. Hasbi Allah alayk. Now again, notice here, our marriage bed. What's this? And marriage temple, you know, temple, like people go, and they married people in Christians, they go to the church and they marry in the church in front of the priest, and it's like a temple. Here he used the word temple. It really means, you know, the church ceremonies about this. He said, this flea is our church, is our marriage bed, is our wedding, is our sacred marriage. That's why he used the word temple. Our marriage bed and marriage temple is. Though parents grudge and we are met. Meaning, maybe our parents did not want us to marry. Maybe your father will not make me or will not accept me as your husband. Now we are married without their consent. Though parents grudge, you know, grudge, when you say you don't want to give someone, you know, you don't agree to do something, or you don't, you know, love to do something, or to give something, or to feel mean and to feel bad and to feel like miserly or something like that. He said, maybe parents, our parents will not accept to get us married, but now we are married. Okay, now we are married in this little flea. And notice, and cloistered. Look at the word cloistered in these living walls of jet. Look at this. He's comparing the flea to a bedroom, to a house. And we live in this house, he said, in a cozy, lovely house. We live together. He said, walls walls of jet, meaning walls of happiness. بيت السعادة. ما شاء الله عليك, isn't it? Huh? Living walls of jet. We are living in a lovely, our wedding house. Wow. It's really a funny, amazing, say, come on. This is really sick, isn't it? He said, we are living now in a nice house. Please don't destroy this house. Again, look at that. He's comparing this little flea to a tiny, lovely, decorated house where they live. Notice, though use make you apt to kill me. Look at the word use here, really means habit. Normally, when you see a flea, you kill it, because normally a flea is something really ugly and something dirty and something terrible. Normally, you sort of squeeze it or press it or whatever, or and you kill a flea. He said, normally, by habit, normally you should kill this flea. Though use make you apt to kill me. As if to say, here you are, if you do this, you are killing me, he said. Let not to that. Please no. He said, please no. Don't kill me. Why? Because he said, self-murder added be. He said, if you kill this, you are killing yourself. This is committing suicide. And committing suicide is haram. MashaAllah, isn't it? Now, notice here really the funny, amazing, really thing, isn't it? Self-murder added be. Meaning, if you kill this flea, you are killing yourself. And you are killing me. And he said, and sacrilege. 3 sins in killing 3. 3 sins in killing 3. Wow. Sacrilege here, as if to say, as if this is something really blasphemous, something really terrible, something sacred you are going to do, you are going to damage, you are going to kill 3 people. And by killing 3, you will be sinful 3 times. I don't know. What do you think, boys and girls? This is very funny, isn't it? Or strange? What do you think? Huh?
Doctor, I think sacrilege, because they are both in a church, since they are both priests, or priests. If she spills the blood of the flea, she will be spilling blood inside the church, and
She's
that's
not a
sacrilege.
priestess. Oh, yes. Yeah, very good. Very good, yes, mate. Wallahi, you are my boy. I told you, you are my boy. Very good. Notice here, yeah, I'm saying blasphemous, something terrible, because he said we are married in a holy place. And not just that, but I say, 3 sins in killing 3, and this is really, as I said, the very far away, as I said, far-fetched. That's why we say metaphysical, unbelievable, really unbelievable image here, isn't it? 3 sins in killing 3. Cruel and sudden. Now he's angry with her, saying, you cruel and sudden hast thou since purpled thy nail in blood of innocence. Notice she killed the flea and her nail became red with the blood of the flea. And he said, purple. He used the word purple, thy nail, your nail in blood. And look at this, blood of innocence. What kind of innocence? This is really amazing, isn't it? Really, he's very amazing, terrible man to use this. But you see, the reason I give this poem to you, and I always teach this poem in metaphysical poetry in other courses, because so strange, it's really strange is wild and strange, really, associations. So he's saying, by killing this little insect, this little flea, you are very cruel, and you kill it suddenly, and then your nail became red and purple red with this blood. And he said, innocence, our innocent blood, wherein could this flea guilty be? So how do you kill this flea? What guilt this flea is guilty in? She's not, it's not, I don't know, I use the word she, she's not she, it's not, I don't know, he said she, I don't know. They're guilty. Why do you kill this flea? Is it she, or is it guilty? He said, the only guilt she did, except, he said, except in that the drop which it sucked from thee. The only guilt, the only thing she did, it took only one little blood from you. So, except in that drop which it sucked from thee, yet thou triumphest and says that thou findest not thyself nor me the weaker now. You're saying that flea did not do anything. It took only one little blood of you. So why are you so over the moon and feel you are triumphed? Thou triumphst? Why? What did you do? What achievement you did? What a great thing you did? Huh? What did you do? And you say, wow, now I find myself, he said, findest not thyself, nor me, the weaker now. Maybe as if to say, we seem to be the weaker one. By killing this flea, we are the weak ones, not that little thing. And he's saying, yeah, it's true. And he's repeating, it's true. It is true, he said. Then learn how far false fears be. Learn how false fears be. As if to say, why are you frightened? Again, this is really his funny, wicked, wily invitation for her to give herself to him bodily. And that's why he's saying, we are really wrong. We are frightened for the wrong reason. I said, our fears are false, meaning, why are we frightened to fulfill our real love relationship? Just so much honor. He's saying, really, our love is not bad, is not wicked, is not illicit, is not illegal and something. On the contrary, he said, it's really honorable. Just so much honor when thou yieldst to me. Again, as I say, this is, I really always say this to you, boys and girls, and always to my students, I say this. This is a direct reaction to society. Remember, in Elizabethan society, the whole thing was talking about courtly love, which is like the, absolutely spiritual love. And we had so many examples by Shakespeare and by Sidney and by Marlowe. And, remember that poem I gave you, by Marlowe, the one I asked you in the exam, when he said, come and live with me and be my love. Remember the one I asked you in the exam? Come and live with me and be my love. This is really exactly, notice here, he's asking her and live with him and be his love. Now, this can be seen as physical or spiritual. So really here, this poem is halfway between, like a departure, a little bit of a departure from spirituality into something of physicality. And that's why he's saying to be physically in love with someone is not sinful and is not, dishonorable, if you like. And so he's saying that's He said, just so much honor when thou yieldest to me will waste as this flea does. Death took life from thee. You know, really, as I said, I'm not, you know, please make sure that I'm not giving you this poem for the ideas and for the meanings and so on. But you see, I'm giving you here really the example to see the wild, absolutely strangest, the most weird thing about imagery, how much imagery he used, right? And, you know, the real, you know, the proportion, the absolutely, you know, massive proportion that he inflated this image. You know, the flea here is being inflated into so many other images. And I think this is an amazing thing. Okay, now, as you can see, 3 stanzas, and the rhyme there, you can see is if you want to, again, if we want to scan the first line, for example, mark but this flea and mark in this, again, the same thing, mark but this flea and mark in this, right? As you can see here, mark but, here really, when you look at it, really it's, especially in the first word, really, it sounds to be, you know, stress, unstress, right? Stress, unstress, not iambic, it's trochaic here. And which is really very, very strange, unless you want to say, you know, maybe this is irregular. But again, as you can see, the style is a bit easy. I mean, the language is not so difficult. The rhyme is clear, as you can see. The last 2 lines, the last, sorry, 3 lines always rhyme together. And the first, second, etc., you know, you can see this as like couplets, A, A, B, B, C, C. Notice A, A, B, B, C, C, and then D, 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 you know. And the same thing, spare, spare and R, really here, again, is not perfect rhyme, because you can see here the sound is not the same. Okay, so here I give a little really a little introduction, or not introduction, a little, if you like, elaboration. So really here it sounds nice at the end of the day. If you like to read this on your own would be, I think, enough. Notice here I said it could be iambic or trochaic or something. So it's really very sort of interesting here. Okay, so notice here the form at the end. I said the poem alternates metrically between lines of iambic, tetrameter, and lines in iambic pentameter again. Well, I said trochaic because the word mark, this is irregular. It can't be unstressed. The word mark, but, you know, I don't know. I can't read this as unstressed stress. You see what I mean? But yeah, I mean, this is the whole idea here at the end today. So yeah, any question about the flea?
Everything is all right.
Very good. Now, really, I have still about 15 to nearly 18 minutes. I really can give you another small poem, really very small, called The Sick Crows, which is the example of symbol and allegory. Symbol and allegory, right? And it's a poem by William Blake. As maybe I will show you in a minute. You can see it here. Yeah, the next page here, page 24. 24. Notice here, called the sick rose. Again, really, this is, as I'm saying here, this is an example of symbolism, an example of symbols and symbolism. And as you can see, it's very tiny. Again, very tiny poem. And as you can see here, you know, they're saying sick, the sick rose, you know. I mean, even the title is quite funny, in a way to maybe to try to understand how roses can be sick. Well, yeah, maybe in some cases here. I give you a little introduction about William Blake. I think you can read it, because last time I gave you one poem by Blake, which is I think I gave you, which is called London, and
The
the
tiger.
tiger and London, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and here today, just this one, as you can see here, for symbolism. The sick rose, oh rose, thou art sick. The invisible worm that flies in the night, the howling storm, hast found out thy bed of crimson joy, and his dark secret love does thy life destroy. You know, it's really an amazing image here. It's very funny and strange, you know. He's talking to a red rose, how this rose is dying because of a worm. He said, invisible worm. You have been attacked by a worm. You know, thou art sick, the invisible worm that flies in the night in the howling storm. You know, he's saying, you know, roses live outside, of course, in nature. He said there was some kind of wind that brought this, you know, worms or insects or something like this to come to these roses. He said there must be some kind of insect. Notice he said invisible worm, you know, some kind of tiny little insect or a worm that came to you and went into you and made you sick and made you die. But look at that howling storm, flies in the night, you know, as if to say this worm was brought by nature. You know, the symbol here, as I said, the symbolism of death, disease, and all that. He's saying this worm has found out thy bed of crimson joy. Meaning this worm found you to be a lovely place to stay in, to live in your body, the rose's body, which is, he said, thy bed, has found out thy bed of crimson joy. Means the worm found you as a lovely place to live in, to stay in, to sleep in, you know, to eat you, if you like here, to devour you out, etc. You know, the worm has found out thy bed of joy, absolutely lovely. And notice the word crimson, you know, the color here, you know, red and lovely and fiery. And his dark secret love does thy life destroy. What a funny thing. His love? You mean, who is he? You mean the worm? What is, you know, his dark secret love does thy life destroy. This worm loved you to stay and eat you. It loved you, and then by this love, it killed you. What is this? Isn't it? Very strange, again, symbol. Really very amazing symbol. And his dark secret love does thy life destroy. Your life is destroyed through the love of this little terrible insect, worm. And he said dark secret love, because he said people think that this is love, right? But it's not, you know. This is amazing, isn't it? It is not love, you know. So that's why he used the word dark and then secret, you know, meaning is a terrible kind of love which kills. You know, this worm loves you, the red rose, or the rose, but through this love, or his love, or its love, or her love, I don't know what, but he said his dark secret love does thy life destroy. You were killed through the love of this worm, and this is really terrible. Very wild, very strange, again, to some extent, really strange image and symbol, the symbol of life, really the symbol of life, and how sometimes love can lead to destruction. I don't know. What do you think?
If the relationship is unhealthy, it does not bring happiness.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, boys. What do you think? Yeah, boys. Yeah, really, this is strange, absolutely strange image, as I said, and very simple, as you can see here. Now, I think that's it, if you like, for today. I think we have one person missing. Who's this? I have Reem, Nabiha, and Hajar, and Ala, Ammar, Ismail, An. Who else? Anyway, we'll check later. Right. I think that's it. If you don't have any question, I will stop here today, and next time I will continue from there. As you know, we have. I think next time I will give you. Let me maybe tell you what poems to maybe read. Now. We have more examples. Next time I'll give you the chimney sweeper, and maybe another example, the Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. I think that will be enough. We'll see. We'll see. I'll give you more poems, and because really. Yeah, I think this week and next week will be the last week for poetry. This week and next week will be the end of poetry, and then I will move on to drama. So I will conclude those important ideas and themes about symbols and allegory and so on. And still we have the context and experience. I think that will be the end of poetry. Next week I will finish the poetry section. Okay, right? Any question, boys and girls?